The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are simply that, opinions. All are presumed innocent until proven otherwise in a court of law. Sensitive topics are discussed. Discretion is advised.
We were married 56 years, 6 months, and 8 days.
Was there a name associated with your husband, Carl Patton? Was there a nickname associated with him?
Yes.
And what is that nickname?
The Flint River murders. Bruce Jordan wanted me to help him and to talk to him about what Carl had done. And I told him if he wanted my help, that he needed to find my daughter.
The victim's mother and the serial killer's wife is returning to the stand in the killer's daughter murder trial. So will her testimony help or hurt the prosecution? Plus, the video of Killer Kohberger that's swirling around the internet. It's now under investigation. So is the prison footage legit? And will former Sheriff Mickey Steins get bond? Well, it's been nearly a year after he was accused of shooting and killing a Kentucky judge. The question now, should he be let out? Also this hour, we're counting down to the sentencing of Ihsan Ali, the father who was convicted of assaulting his teenage daughter. So how much time will he get? It's all coming up next for you right here on Opening Statements. Good Monday morning to you and welcome to Opening Statements. I'm Julie Grant. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I missed you very much. I'm so glad to be back with you this morning, and we've got a tremendous show planned. So let's start it off as we always do. Grab that cup of coffee. It's time for my opening statement. Call 911. That is what you do when you have an emergency. You call 911 to try to save the person. And you most certainly do anything you can to save the child that you brought into this world if you think that they're having a medical emergency. Well, sadly, Jaden Spicer's mom didn't call 911. She told investigators that instead of calling for help, she buried him. Call 911 or dig a grave. How is that even a question? Police say Felicia Gross gave little 10-year-old Jaden Spicer too much sleeping medication. She told police that she believed he died from a, quote, medical emergency. So why didn't she call 911? That's why it's there, for emergency situations like the one that Jaden seems to have had. But no. This rotten, selfish, sorry excuse for a mother thought that putting her son in the ground, lying to the public about him being missing, sending police on a wild goose chase, and coaching her other kids to lie about it would be a better idea. I hope that Felicia Gross gets the harshest penalties that the law allows, if she did what Kentucky police say she did. Precious Jaden Spicer should be alive today. He was a beautiful, innocent child. May he rest in peace, and may justice now be served. That's my opening statement. Let me know if you like it. Right now, it's time for your daily docket. All right, here's what we've got cooking in Washington. The father who was accused of attempting to kill his teenage daughter is going to be sentenced today. He was acquitted of attempted homicide, but he was convicted of assault. That's going to begin at noon Eastern. In Kentucky, we've got the case I was just talking about. Felicia Gross back in court this morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. This is a hearing to determine if there's enough evidence for her to stand trial for second-degree manslaughter. And in Georgia, we've got the victim's mother, Norma Patton, returning to the stand in the killer's daughter murder trial for defendant Christopher Wolfenbarger. That begins at 10:30 a.m. Eastern, and that is our top story for you this morning. He's accused of the cold case murder of his wife, Melissa. It happened 25 years ago. Prosecutors say that he killed her, but the defense is pointing the finger at her parents. Her remains were found in '99, but she wasn't identified until 4 years later, when her father, confessed serial killer Carl Patton, and his DNA matched with hers. That's how they made the link. He became known as the Flint River serial killer, was sentenced to life in prison in 2003 and passed away just last year. Now, the defense team contends that Melissa's mother, Norma Patton, may have been connected to Melissa's death. She admitted to helping her husband wrap his victims' bodies and testified against him at trial in order to avoid charges. She explained why she waited months before reporting her daughter missing.
At any point, do you make any attempts to contact law enforcement?
Not right away. I did when another month or so, I guess. It actually took me till the whole year of 1999 to be able to convince everybody that something was wrong.
Okay. When you say everybody, who are you trying to talk to?
Just friends and family and...
All right, so the big question is, who is mom going to help more? Is she going to help the prosecution more, or is she going to help the defense more? Let's bring in our legal eagles and talk about it. On the show with me this morning, attorneys Tommy Pope and Jennifer Brandt. Good morning to you both. Tommy, would you start us off here, please? You were a prosecutor, very well-known prosecutor in America. Tell me, is this lady going to help the prosecution more than she'll hurt them?
I do not envy this prosecutor's job in this case. You've got a cold case connected to an already incarcerated serial killer. I think they had to put her up for the things they needed, but I watched the direct, at least. I think I saw a little bit of the cross, but her credibility is suspect. And again, I don't know how much the jury will know about how she assisted her husband and the things that went on, but I assume if it hadn't been, it will be brought out in cross. And they're stuck. You got to use the mother of the victim 9 out of 10 times. And but I mean, everything from her, she stays as connected to her husband, the serial killer, as possible. When they asked how long they were married, and she could tell you to the day, she hadn't disavowed what he did. And I just think it brings a cloud into the courtroom. And again, I think the prosecutor's got a tremendously difficult task this time.
Appreciate it, Tommy. Let's take a listen to some of what Norma was talking about. And we know that she cut this deal, right? The deal was she'll turn on her husband in order to find her daughter. Let's watch.
Where was Carl Patton at that time?
They had taken him out.
All right. Now, had they arrested you as well at this time?
No, I was not under arrest. Bruce Jordan wanted me to help him and to talk to him about what Carl had done, and I told him if he wanted my help, that he needed to find my daughter.
Okay.
Because she was missing. Carl was arrested on the morning of February 23rd, and I was told on March 17th that Melissa had been found and ID'd.
Oh my, quite a lot going on in the family dynamics here, as you attorneys know. Jennifer Brandt, you practice family law. Mom's in quite a unique position here to have been married to the serial killer, helping him out to a degree, testifying against him, and now she's testifying for the state in the homicide case involving her daughter. How do you think the jury is perceiving Mom, Jennifer?
Well, look, I mean, she certainly has a history behind her, and the fact that she was married for so long, 56 years, to a serial killer really doesn't help her. But she's still a mom, and I think her testimony does come across as credible in terms of her caring for her daughter. And she was the one that really made the police, pursue the killer, look for, what happened to her daughter. Without her, who knows? Maybe the daughter would have never even been identified. It was a cold case. We don't really know what happened. So I think the jury will believe her from the standpoint of a mother who cares about her daughter. So I think in that way, if you can set aside her background, I think she is somewhat credible in terms of, just being a parent.
Jennifer, thank you. Let's listen to a little bit of the defense opening statement. This is where we're getting the start of seeing their theory they're going for here, that this wasn't done by Christopher Wolfenbarger.
Melissa's father, Carl Patton, committed a string of murders in the late 1970s. He was suspected of those murders for a long time. He was investigated, but they were not prosecuted and proved until 2003, 4 years after Melissa's disappearance and death. You'll be presented with evidence that Norma Patton, his wife, helped him directly commit at least 2 of those murders. To dispose of the bodies, to clean up the crime scenes, and to wrap up the bodies and dispose of them in ways that are somewhat similar to the way Melissa's remains were found.
Oh boy. Okay, Tommy Pope, for just a moment, be a defense attorney for just a second here. What do you think of this legal theory?
I think he didn't wait till cross-examination. I guess if I'd seen the opening, I would have recognized that. So, I mean, he's going full in. I was trying to think after what Jennifer said, the only argument, if mom was complicit in the murders and helping with the murders, then perhaps if she knew husband killed the daughter, she would have told that too. But I think, again, I think the defense has got a strong case. It's got to, the state's got to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. And I think that, as long as that husband exists and that mom was complicit, I think there's going to be, that reason, that question.
Mm-hmm, right. I agree that they have a strong theory here. I mean, when we think about it, I mean, Tommy and Jennifer, you see it in so many cases, we see finger pointing from defense teams, and oftentimes it's meritless. They're just trying to do something. How often do you have a serial killer that you can point to that's in such close proximity to your victim? I mean, they've really been given a gift. I would think it would almost be like, malpractice if these attorneys wouldn't explore the idea that someone in that Patton home might have done this to Melissa. Jennifer Brandt, your thoughts on that, please.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, they have the perfect person to blame here. The father is a serial killer, and it's known that he is, and the mother was complicit in helping him. So, I mean, of course you're going to point the finger at him, but, let's look at all of the evidence here. And, is there anything that ties the dad to his daughter's disappearance? I don't think so. I think the evidence is stronger that it was her husband. So it is, a bunch of characters here, and really not a great situation all around for this poor woman that was killed. But, we'll see what happens. But I can see where the defense is, definitely pointing the finger at her dad.
For sure. Jennifer Brandt, Tommy Pope, I'm so glad we have you two on the show today. Stand by for more questions, please. We're going to hit our first break. Friends at home, get some more coffee. Here's what we have coming up next for you on Opening Statements.
Defendant entered the residence, went to the 3rd floor, and with a knife, killed Madison Mogan and Caitlin Gonzalez. He encountered Xana, and he ended up killing her also with a large knife. Ethan Chapin, Xana's boyfriend, was asleep in their bedroom, in her bedroom, and the defendant killed him as well.
Next, returning to what's trending this morning, that is a brand new prison video of Killer Kohberger. But is it real? Our power panel weighs in. Plus, should the former sheriff accused of murdering a judge be let out on bond? We're spotlighting his case and his claims of an insanity defense.
The Court TV podcast will return.
He is a hollow vessel, something less than human. A body without empathy, without remorse. He chose destruction. He chose evil.
He's now spending his life behind bars. Bryan Kohberger back is a trending topic this morning as prison officials are investigating a possible leak of video footage. So here it is. This is the footage that is being investigated right now by the Idaho Department of Corrections. It was allegedly leaked. It shows Kohberger in his cell, placing something up on a shelf, staring at his hands, and look at the color of his hands too, like a reddish, purpley color. He's known to be an excessive hand washer. Well, the Idaho Department of Corrections had this to say in part in response to the video circulating. It said, "We're aware of the video circulating online and are investigating the matter. While we cannot yet confirm the veracity of the videos, if verified, they're a clear violation of IDOC policy, and the parties responsible will be held accountable, up to and including termination. We caution that some videos may be fake or AI enhanced." So our question this morning, does this video look legit to you? Let's bring in our power panel. Still with me, attorneys Tommy Pope and Jennifer Brandt. I want to welcome in retired NYPD detective and the host of the Rob O'Donnell Show, Rob O'Donnell. Good morning to you all. All right, Rob, would you start us off with your thoughts on this, please?
Well, in this day and age with AI, it's hard to tell if these are AI videos or not. But that being said, I think it would take about 5 minutes for the Department of Correction to verify if this was a legitimate video or not. I think there's a sense of embarrassment. I think they are investigating internally what happened for possible disciplinary reasons, which is why the delay there. But as far as the video goes, there's nothing AI worthy in this video. It's just someone learning to live every second of every minute of every hour of every day for the rest of his life, not breathing free air. It's an awkward video, I agree, but it does not sense the worthiness of an AI generated video. There's nothing in it egregious. There's nothing in it that's outstanding. It's just someone kind of getting used to incarcerated life.
I hear you, Rob. So you think it probably looks legit based on what you're saying at the end? I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything worthy in this video of being AI generated, and I think the Department of Corrections, again, knows this right now if this is valid or not and could come out. But I believe because of the PR nightmare that this is for them and the sense that they're doing an internal investigation is why the delay in verifying this. But I think if it was fake, they would come out very quickly and say this isn't real.
Appreciate it, Rob. Thank you for that insight. Tommy Pope, let me go to you next. As we know, you've been an investigator serving with SLED in South Carolina at one point. Tell me, what did you think when you saw this? Did you think this looks legit?
I did. I kind of go with Rod. It was nothing dramatic like him, sexually assaulting somebody or doing something, provocative. It's interesting to me that it appears the camera follows and maybe, had to zoom it in. That's a little odd, I would think, for one that was just security. But I know oftentimes at the control panel, there'll be, for example, a hub, and the officer will have access to all. And if he sees something up, he can zoom in on it. I bet it's going to play out that it was some kind of leak internally. And, unfortunately, our corrections officers are some of the lowest paid law enforcement officers. And somebody probably offered to pay them a decent amount of money to get a piece of this tape. And so they probably made a cost-benefit analysis. And if I lose my job, I might have just got more money than I get in a year, for example. And so I think it is most likely legit. And I think you'll ultimately hear that somebody's been fired.
Tommy, that's a great point about the money, perhaps, don't know, maybe was extended for something like this. Thank you for that insight. Jennifer Brandt, last but certainly not least, want to get your thoughts. Are we going 3 for 3 here? Do you think this is legit?
I mean, it is an awkward video, but it probably is legit because, again, it isn't showing anything really unique. It shows that he's sort of strange and kind of goes along with what we've known about him. Looking at his hands, kind of standing there. The thing is, though, I mean, we've seen enough of him. Put him away, and we don't want to see him anymore. I mean, after what he's done, I can't believe that, this is getting such attention. It just... And I understand why people are interested, but we've sent him to prison, and let's just move on from him.
Sure, right, Jennifer. Yeah, he's where he belongs. Thank goodness. When he was complaining about, oh, I can't sleep, the inmates are being mean to me. Too bad, too sad, yeah. Right? Yep. None of us care. We care about those families. And we'll leave the Kohberger story here for now. When we hear something from the Idaho Department of Corrections, we'll report that information. Let's turn to some other big trending news. This is out of the state of Kentucky. Defendant Felicia Gross is set to go before a judge today for her preliminary hearing. She's 33 years old. She's accused of manslaughter in connection to the death of her 10-year-old son, Jaden Spicer. This is the case I was talking about in my opening statement this morning. She pleaded not guilty at her arraignment last week. Before entering her plea, Kentucky State Senator Brandon Smith gave his opinion as to why Ms. Gross is facing manslaughter and not murder charges. Let's listen.
Like most people thinking about it, I assume that it's because she cooperated and did take them to his body, which I'm thankful for. This is something that she could have taken to her grave. We may have never found this baby. And it could be that there are other people involved, and maybe she, they're wanting to give her some room in order to, work with them if there were other people involved. But I'm not really sure. I know people they're upset by it, they're outraged by it, and for good reason. But right now, we just have to trust the process and let these professional men and women do their job.
Again, State Senator Brandon Smith, he was on the program before Felicia Gross was charged. Okay, so this is before her charging. I'm sorry, let me back up. Strike that, wrong, I just misspoke here. This is before we got the information about the sleeping medication. She was charged with manslaughter. We weren't sure exactly why, but then the affidavit was unsealed and we saw that apparently she made statements that she gave Jaden too much sleep medication and that he suffered from a medical emergency. And so to be fair, the senator didn't have that piece of information when we asked him that question, and he answered. All right. So what do we think comes next here for this woman? She made admissions to what she gave him, took law enforcement to the body. Essentially, we have somebody admitting to what occurred here. It's no longer a mystery. What's the defense going to be? What might be mounted for her here at trial by her attorneys? Jennifer Brandt, we'll start with you this time. What do you think could possibly be put forth by Felicia Gross and her attorneys?
Just that, it was totally accidental, that she was just giving him some medication. He had a reaction to it. And the part about the body obviously is problematic, but that, she panicked and didn't know what to do. This woman has had a history with child services, so this isn't her first go-around with problems with her children, and she has other younger children. I mean, the defense could say she totally panicked and was afraid for her younger children they were going to take them away. I mean, it really doesn't make any sense, and I don't think there's much of a defense here, but I think if they're going to put something forth, that will be sort of on the, that line, that she just didn't know and just totally panicked.
Panic, right, Jennifer. Tommy Pope, tell me, what else can you think of might be put forth here for her defense?
Well, two things. I'd say when Jennifer said it doesn't make any sense, then the first thing you think is there's some type of mental health defense. So I will say, with that being said, they seem to be more and more rare, because true insanity, you don't even recognize a stop sign, or, you can't do basic things. And normally the way we unprove that from a prosecution standpoint is all the normal things she did, in compliance with the law outside of this. And so without the mental health thing, I think Jennifer's point about the panicking is probably the closest you got. I will say that, we were talking about the lesser charge coming in, that perhaps she was cooperative. If she's cooperative, everybody says not guilty at the beginning kind of to buy time, and it may be something that they ultimately work out. Like the senator was saying, they just secured the location of the child, and ultimately they may be working toward cooperating versus battling to try to mitigate the sentence itself.
I appreciate that, Tommy. Good points. Rob O'Donnell, I want to talk to you about something else, please. The fact that this woman lied to police, the public, sent everybody on that wild goose chase. Having served in law enforcement for many years, what is that like? Just tell us, please, what that's like when you have somebody lying to you and you're going all over trying to find the missing child, and then you find out, oh, they're the one who's responsible for the child being buried in the shallow grave.
Yeah, locking them into their lie is not a bad thing. It just shows how her case has morphed from, oh, my child's missing, to admitting and leading law enforcement to where the body is buried, showing that there is premeditation there, that you knew enough to lie and misdirect law enforcement investigators, and then for whatever reason get some sort of conscience to show them where the body is. And thankfully she did. What we need to address here mostly is the autopsy on this child is preliminary, so they can always upgrade the charges. If they find out that the amount of medication, if it was in fact the medication that she gave him, was egregious, was it intentional, they can always upgrade these charges. You know, when toxicology comes back and they find out what the true cause of death, not just preliminary, they can always upgrade these charges. The other thing you got to take into effect is the other charges that she has here of coaching her other children to lie. They have to also, authorities, we as authorities, as the justice system, have to protect these children too. So could the lower charge be to shield them from future court cases or getting more involved in this case? Like one of the other panelists said, she does have a history. Some of it is sealed, but there is some sort of ongoing issue with her and her parental custody of these children, if not specifically this child.
A really excellent points, Rob. Boy, oh boy, we're going to watch for that. Like you said, when the autopsy results come back, let's see if the charges are amended in any way. Rob O'Donnell, we got to let you go. You've got your own show to do. Check out the Rob O'Donnell Show on Odyssey and wherever you get your podcast. Thank you so much, my friend. We'll see you soon. Tommy and Jennifer coming with us. You do the same at home, please. Here's what's next.
I hope she come back in the home. I hope that. I love her. Really, I love her. I need she come back in home.
Oh, my. We're counting down to the sentencing of the parents who were accused of trying to kill their daughter. This was that moment when mom was released after her acquittal. Dad, he's still locked up, and the sentencing for them is today. Before we get to that, though, we've got Sheriff Mickey Steins to talk about. Remember him accused of murdering the judge in his chambers? Well, now he wants to be let out on bond. We'll talk about why when we come back.
Now, back to the Court TV podcast.
Welcome back. In our spotlight this morning, we're talking about former Sheriff Sean Mickey Steins. He's accused of fatally shooting Judge Kevin Mullins in his chambers last September. Video of the incident shows Steins and Mullins talking. They'd just gone to lunch together. Right before this happens, Steins pulls out a gun and shoots the judge. And just days before the shooting, Steins was deposed for a lawsuit involving a sex scandal involving a former bailiff. At a court hearing on Friday, Steins' attorney asked that his client be released on bond.
I would ask the court, again, without waiving anything, I would ask the court to consider setting a bond. The court, of course, can do that at any time. And that would be our requested bond, the $50,000 cash or property. Mr. Steins was a member of this community for his entire life, born and raised here. He has a great deal of family support through all of this, as the court can see. He has a wife and daughter that he can still go home to today. He was a member of law enforcement for basically his entire adult life, up until the point of his arrest. He's a respected member of law enforcement, a respected member of the community, and frankly, Judge, everything we've learned about him since then corroborates that. And I would have testimony to that effect. There's no evidence that he would be a flight risk. Nothing.
Steins' lawyers also filed a motion to unseal the former sheriff's psychological evaluation, saying that the results of the test will help the court understand the relevant facts. They've said they plan to use an insanity defense if this case goes to trial. So what could be contained in that psychological evaluation that the defense team wants to be put out there so badly? Let's talk about it. Let's bring in forensic psychiatrist Dr. Carol Lieberman and attorney Tommy Pope to talk about this. All right, Dr. Carol, let me begin with you here, please. What do you think might be inside of this psychological evaluation that the defense team wants unsealed?
Well, I watched 2 hours of videotape of the sheriff right after he killed the judge. And in those hours, he was clearly paranoid. almost psychotically so. I would say psychotically so. He was looking around. It seemed like he had hallucinations. He was terrified that they were going to shoot him. He kept saying that, "Don't shoot me." He kept asking them to make sure you have the body cameras on. I want this, like he wanted a record of it. And he was that way for at least 2 hours when they were driving him to the jail. So I think he has a good chance at an insanity defense, but it's a little surprising that they're asking for a bond. Now, I know that this is a very special case, that he's a sheriff, everybody knows him there and all that, but I don't think, I've done a lot of these cases, and I don't think it would make a very good impression on the jury to think that, okay, he was insane at that time. Now, a lot of time has gone by, but now he's okay enough to be out in the community. I just don't think that makes a very good presentation, very convincing presentation about his insanity in the first place.
That's a really great point, Dr. Carroll. Really appreciate that. And I find it so fascinating that you, as a trained clinician, somebody who has done so many evaluations throughout your career, looking at that video, you have those observations thinking that, oh boy, something was very wrong at the time of this incident. Which brings me to my next question. It's a legal one for you, Tommy Pope. This defense team also wants the indictment entirely dismissed. They say because of the grand jury testimony. Apparently there was a detective who took the stand, the only witness for the state, took the stand and said that Sheriff Steins was in sane mind at the time of the incident in question. So he made that legal conclusion as a detective who worked the case. We have some of this that came in on Friday from the hearing where this was argued. Let's take a listen.
Had they not been told by a prosecutorial stamped witness, someone from the government, that he was sane, they wouldn't indict this case. Or at least they might not have indicted on murder. And so what I think, Judge, is that even if the court didn't find that this arises to a level where this case should be dismissed with prejudice, which is what we would ask, at the very least, I think this thing should be remanded back and sent back to the grand jury and let them hear the correct evidence. Would that statement be corrected or at least take it out?
All right, Tommy Pope, do you think that attorney has a point?
Different states may handle it different ways, but the grand jury's job is probable cause. They're not the jury that tries the case. And so they really, traditionally only hear one side. And so the fact that they presented, if we'd known this, then we'd have charged different. That's more, to me, of a jury question, in the courtroom, with lesser included and things of that nature. I will say, and I think the counselor even alluded to that, they'd love to have it dismissed with prejudice. At worst, they'd wait, I guess, till you had the next constituted grand jury. It's interesting to me, and I didn't hear how he got the information, but these proceedings are supposed to be secret too. The fact that a grand juror is talking about, the decisions they made, unless this jury's been, grand jury's been released or something, maybe that's why. But I don't see it, changing the charge. And I think that, at the most, the judge may, send it before a grand jury. But again, they're hitting issues to me that are about what a petty jury, the jury in the courtroom decides.
Yes, Tommy, thank you for that. An issue about someone's sanity, that comes in at trial. That is not for the grand jury to be even considering. You wonder how it came out. I would love to see that transcript, if the prosecutor just asked a bad question or if the detective just offered it, and the prosecutor didn't ask it. But you're absolutely right. It shouldn't have, it shouldn't be at this juncture any focus at all. As you noted, Tommy, it's probable cause. But we are, way past the grand jury indictment, as we know. So for this to get kicked, who knows? It's moving forward as far as we know. Carol Lieberman, so let me go back to you on that point. What do you think would be the most effective things for this defense team to be doing if they do want to mount that insanity defense, as they're saying? What more can they do now, perhaps with someone like yourself?
Well, presumably they made some reference to these, to having had a psych evaluation that's sealed or something like that in the bond hearing. I watched that. The question is, what is he suffering from now? He was paranoid, certainly, and it seemed psychotic. But that could be caused by something long-term, like schizophrenia, paranoid schizophrenia. Or it could be caused by something just on that day, like he took some drugs that made him paranoid. So if they're asking for him to be released on bond, presumably they are planning to say, or they have information to say, that it was just a temporary kind of thing. Because otherwise, if he's paranoid schizophrenic, technically he should be in a hospital right now, being treated. And it's interesting because he looks different at the bond hearing than he looked after he was arrested. He's much quieter. I saw him walk in and he was shuffling. It almost seems like he's on some kind of antipsychotic medication now. So the key is what the diagnosis is. And sure, maybe he wouldn't be a flight risk, but could he be a danger to the community?
Great points. Excellent insight from you both. We've got to leave it there for now. We'll report any updates on that bond. Dr. Carol Lieberman, we have to let you go. Thank you so much. Tommy Pope's coming with us. Do the same at home, please. When we come back, here's what's next.
Have you spoken to your husband, Isan?
My husband also.
How's he feeling?
I pray for him. Maybe he get out sooner.
So will Ihsan Ali get time served at his sentencing? That couple's going before the court today. We're talking about it, though, next.
This is the Court TV podcast.
It's hard to forget that video, isn't it? The video showing father Ihsan Ali attacking his daughter outside of her high school. It can be tough to watch. And he was acquitted of attempted murder and other charges. He was convicted of assault. He's looking at up to 12 months in prison, but he's been behind bars since last November's arrest. His wife, Zara, was convicted of violating a no-contact order. She has been subsequently released.
If you could say anything to your daughter, Fatima, what would you say to her right now?
I hope she come back in the home. I hope that. I love her. Really, I love her. I need she come back in home. Sooner sooner I need to come back.
Yeah. Have you spoken to your husband, Ihsan?
My husband also.
How's he feeling?
I pray for him. Maybe he get out sooner.
So will he get out today? Well, we're going to find out. We're just a few hours away from this couple's sentencing. Let's bring in our legal eagles and see how they think this is going to go. Attorneys Jennifer Brandt and Tommy Pope on the program today. Okay, so Dad's been in for, geez, I guess about 9 months, if I'm doing my math right. I'm a lawyer, so I don't do math. Yeah, he's looking at a max of 12, so I guess the judge could keep him in until November or let him go today. What do we think is going to happen with Dad? Jennifer Brandt, would you start us off, please?
I think that Dad's going to be let go today. He's already been in for quite some time, 9 months. They kept him after the not guilty verdict on the attempted murder. So I think he's served his time, and I think he's been hopefully taught a lesson. So I think the judge will let him go at this point.
Mom is another story, as she served more time as the maximum allowable punishment on that no contact order she violated, acquitted of everything else, as we know. Tommy, she is being brought back into the courtroom today. What type of formality might you expect for Mom?
I think as far as the sentencing, I think it's probably just codifying what's happened. In other words, like you said, she's maxed out plus, and you can't give her time back. So I see them giving the sentence and suspended on time served. And that's kind of what I see happening for him. You could do the full sentence, suspend it down to the time served, and that leaves a little time hanging over his head unless, for example, it's a 75% sentence, and so really he's maxed out too. But if he hadn't maxed out, I could see the judge hanging some time over his head just a little bit to try to send what little message you can that this behavior can't be tolerated. But the jury spoke pretty loudly, and in fairness, no disrespect to prosecutors, I think we probably overshot on the charges a little bit, and that's why you saw, such a sweep back from the jurors.
Tommy, you got me thinking when you were saying how just to have a little bit more control over him, what can the court do? So follow up for you, please. What do you think would be best for the court to impose on this guy? Anger management classes, ankle bracelet? What do you think might be helpful to maintain control of him for as long as the court can?
So I think, again, more whatever it takes for the threat of being reincarcerated, what I call hanging time over your head. If you go and sin no more, then you don't have to worry about it. Anger management's kind of a standard. I think sometimes it happens. I don't think, home detention or ankle bracelet really is going to matter as much because it wasn't a case of him going out and commit crime. It was a directly attached personal to his family situation. And as you're looking at the videos now, I know they were trying to help her, but there were a number of people assaulting him. And I think clearly the jury took that into consideration. So, it's not much of a message if you're dealing with 3 months, if you could use the whole months, but just a little bit to try to keep him, from not conducting himself in this manner. And I know, the runaway child thing is frustrating. I thought about it. Jurors may be on there that have seen similar situations. I used to have parents when I was a prosecutor call me, and the kids would be in like that 17, 16-year-old age where they can't really control them. They want to stay there on their own, but they can't handle them. And it sounds like there was a little bit of that going on too. Sure.
Tommy, thank you. Jennifer Brandt, tapping into your family law expertise, kind of dovetailing off of what Tommy shared. Mom wants the daughter to come back home. Daughter's 18. What do you think is best for the daughter, please?
I think it's best for the daughter to stay away from these parents. It's a sad situation because they're her parents, but given the animosity, her best bet would be to stay away at least for some time.
Right, Jennifer, I'm with you. I have major concerns about the daughter going back home. I think the mom acts like she's on another planet when she goes, oh, I can't wait for her to come back home. Really? After this? Really? So this is going to start up at noon today in Washington State. Our cameras will be there. Our legal eagles, they've got cases to win. We have to let them get off to court. Jennifer Brandt, Tommy Pope, it's been a pleasure having you both. Thank you so much for everything today. We'll see you soon. And friends at home, thank you for being with us. That's it for opening statements. Watch the episode again, share it, tell your friends about it. We're here every weekday morning to get you all ready at 8 a.m. Eastern. That's all for this episode of Opening Statements, my friends. I'm your host, Julie Grant, and it's been great being with you. On this show, I am calling out any pants on fire moments in our big trials and true crime stories, and I want you to come along with me. Opening Statements is live every weekday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern on Court TV. Thank you for downloading this episode. Please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your friends. You can watch past shows anytime you like on CourtTV.com.